Hi, welcome to Improve Work podcast. Here you'll find resources to level up your leadership role and create the team that you want. It's Daniela here. Feel free to ask me questions about today's episode's topic. Also, if you would like me to speak about a specific topic, let me know. You'll find my email address in the description of this episode. I hope you enjoy it and subscribe. Okay, let's get started. Hi, welcome back. Today's topic is workplace equity, challenges and solutions. Ensuring equity in the workplace is not an easy task because each person has their own perceptions of what is fair in various situations and circumstances. But it is one of the primary factors correlated with job satisfaction and employee motivation. Broadly, we describe something as equitable when we perceive it as fair or just. Equity in the workplace refers to the fair and just distribution of opportunities, resources, rewards, and responsibilities among all employees, regardless of their background, characteristic, or identities. It focuses on creating an environment where everyone has an equal chance to succeed, thrive, and contribute based on their skills, abilities, and performance without facing discrimination or bias. When employees perceive that they are treated fairly and have equal opportunities, they are more likely to be satisfied with their jobs and motivated to perform at their best. To understand better equity in the workplace, let's talk about equity theory. This theory provides valuable insights into workplace dynamics as it helps us understand how employees evaluate their own contributions in comparison to what they receive in return. According to equity theory, people compare the inputs they think they invested in a job and the outputs they receive with other people's inputs and outputs. And here inputs refer to what individuals bring to a situation or a relationship, such as their skills, effort, time, and dedication. And outcomes, on the other hand, refers to what individuals receive in return, which can include pay, recognition, promotions, and other rewards. People seek a sense of equity, which means they want the ratio of their inputs to outcomes to be equal to that of their reference group, typically colleagues or peers. When they perceive this balance, they believe they are being treated fairly. And the employees can compare themselves with colleagues with similar jobs from the company they work for, or with people with similar jobs from other companies. Inequity arises when people perceive an imbalance between their inputs and outcomes in comparison to their reference group. And there are two forms of inequity. Under-reward inequity. This occurs when individuals feel they are given more than they are receiving compared to their reference group. And over-reward inequity. This happens when individuals believe they are receiving more for their inputs than their reference group. One important thing here is that inequities generate tensions. To resolve these tensions, we may take various actions to restore equity. According to Stacey Adams, one of the first who developed equity theory, people can engage in various behaviors, including adjusting their perceptions of inputs and outcomes. So, rephrasing the situation. They can change their inputs. For example, reduce their effort or contribution, or changing their outcomes. For example, seeking promotions or asking for pay raises. Or they can leave the situation or the company. They can resign or seek alternative employment. One important aspect to keep in mind is that equity is subject to individual interpretation. Although employees often make these types of comparisons, There are differences between what they compare and to whom they compare themselves. So, for instance, one employee may compare the development opportunities that he has in a company with those of his peers and disregard other aspects such as travel opportunities or differences in technical equipment. Travel opportunities may be appealing for some employees and at the same time may be avoided by others who don't want their daily routine to be disrupted or they have family duties that don't allow them to travel. Or another example, one employee may be dissatisfied that he wasn't included in a training program for leadership skills, but be alright with not being included in a training for developing specific software skills. Or an employee may compare his or her salary with other colleagues' salaries at the same gender and disregard the salaries of the employees with similar jobs but with different gender. So each employee decides what he or she compares and with whom. Their personal needs, goals, aspirations, values, and expectations play an important role in these types of selections, and the outcomes they want vary. In conclusion, for employers, it is important to know what aspect of their jobs their employees compare and to whom, in order to be aware of their perceptions of fairness or unfairness related to their experiences in their companies. So if an employee considers that inequity comes from the retribution, the employer cannot reduce the feeling of inequity assigning more interesting tasks. The employer has to address the retribution issue. And another important aspect is that equity meaning can be influenced culturally. What is considered equitable in one culture may differ significantly from another one. Understanding the cultural nuances is essential in understanding equity at an individual level, especially when a company has employees with different cultural backgrounds. And let's take some examples. In Japanese culture, equity in the workplace may often emphasize group cohesion with salary structures and promotions designed to maintain harmony among colleagues. In the American culture, equity might be closely tied to individual assignment, where promotions and salary increases are often based on personal performances and merit. And in Nordic culture, in countries like Sweden and Denmark, may prioritize equity in terms of work-life balance, with generous parental leave policies and flexible work arrangements to support personal well-being. Alright, let's talk now about some strategies that a company can take to reduce the employees' perceptions of inequity. First, establish clear criteria and processes. Whether it is a decision that you have to make about a promotion, a salary raise, which employee to include in a training program, or other types of decisions that impact your employees, you need to set clear criteria for this. This will simplify the decision-making process by providing guidance points and will ensure consistency in how decisions are made. Another important thing is to be transparent with the decisions related to employees. Communicate clearly the criteria for different decisions. Transparent decision-making plays an important role in reducing perceptions of inequity among employees. When leaders and companies are open and clear about the criteria and processes behind their decisions, it sustains a sense of fairness and trust within the team members. They feel valued and respected when they understand how and why specific decisions are made, whether it's related to promotions, compensation, or resource allocation. This transparency not only mitigates feelings of inequity but also encourages a culture of accountability. It demonstrates a commitment to treating employees fairly, leading to higher job satisfaction, increased motivation, and also reduce the workplace conflicts. Another thing that will reduce the perceptions of inequity is consistency in applying the decision criteria and processes. This will provide employees with a sense of certainty about how things are done in the company, eliminating surprises. When these criteria and processes are applied inconsistently or selectively, it can lead to uncertainty, lack of trust, and dissatisfaction. This is particularly true for those who perceive disadvantages and injustice. Another aspect that will reduce the perception of inequity is using and providing accurate information. Using accurate information in decisions, including eliminating cognitive biases, will lead to more objective and equitable decisions for the employees. For instance, a company can conduct pay analyses to ensure that salaries and compensation packages are aligned with objective factors such as job role, experience, and performance. Or accurate performance data and employee assessments can be used to identify high-performing team members. This data-driven approach can guide promotions and advancement decisions, ensuring that employees are rewarded based on merit and achievement rather than favoritism or bias. You can learn more about how to eliminate biases in the workplace in my previous episode. Okay, on the other hand, the employer can help the employees to have more accurate perceptions by providing them with accurate information. When employees make assumptions or don't take into account information that can transform their perceptions, they can have limited or distorted perspectives. They can make incorrect assumptions about how a decision was made, how resources are allocated, or why one person earns more than another. This is why transparent decision and processes are so important to eliminate or at least diminish these kinds of perceptions. Also, employees may have incomplete data about outside reference people. For instance, an employee who is thinking about leaving their current company for another one that offers higher pay may not realize that employees in similar position at that company have much more demanding targets and spend more time at work. Or there can be cases when similar jobs are paid more, but other factors like time spent commuting, the work environment, and company culture or growth opportunities are lower, might make a person reconsider their perception of that job. Another aspect that will help employers to reduce the perception of unfairness is asking for employee feedback. Knowing what the employees think about the internal processes and the decisions that are made is the first thing that will help a company to handle perceptions of unfairness and have equity in this regard. You can implement different mechanisms to ask for feedback. For example, you can give them a written questionnaire, you can have one-to-one discussions, or you could designate a person to whom they can go to give their feedback whenever they consider that something is not fair or should be improved. This is also an opportunity to discuss their concerns or complaints and resolve them. Maybe they don't have the whole picture and now they get more data that will make them see things differently. Maybe they saw something that those who took the decisions or created the processes didn't realize. Or maybe they have great suggestions that will help the company. And the last thing that I want to mention is continuous improvement. Achieving workplace equity is an ongoing process. Companies should regularly assess their policies, practices, and outcomes to identify and address any inequities they may arise. Also, you can encourage the employees to come with improvement suggestions. I want to talk now more about inequities related to compensation, because this is one of the major type of inequities. So let's see some situations in which inequities in payment can occur. One of these is when new people are hired. Inequities in payment for similar jobs can occur when new hires are made. Sometimes the candidates wanted for a job come with high salary expectations and they might be hired for higher salaries than the current employees with similar jobs. Reasons like the difficulty to find a suitable person for the job, the cost of searching new candidates, the time spent on the hiring process can contribute to such a decision. As long as the salaries of the employees with similar jobs and level of skills and contributions are adjusted to this higher salary, the equity is maintained. But otherwise, it is very likely that the old employees will be dissatisfied by this. Even if the salaries are confidential, they can still find out or figure out how much money their colleagues earn. Or they may make wrong assumptions that also don't help them have an accurate perception of this aspect. It can also be the situation in which a candidate that you want to hire asks for a lower salary or have lower salary expectations than you are currently offering to employees with similar jobs. Even if you can hire this person for a lower salary, it is not recommended to do this. Sooner or later, he or she will realize what is the situation. Another typical situation is when the employees' salaries packages are below the market levels. Employees can not only compare their salaries between them, but also with the salaries of people who work in other companies. When they know that other people with similar jobs and competencies earn more, they may be dissatisfied. And I said may because it depends on the person who makes the comparison. Some people will be unhappy with this situation, while others may take into consideration other aspects like location of work or work environment and conclude that these are more important. Another situation that can produce inequity is when salary raises or benefits are granted based on an employee's negotiation skills, without adjusting salaries of peers with similar responsibilities and competencies. Sometimes an employee can receive a salary raise or certain benefits due to his negotiation skills. This is great and can contribute to his motivation and engagement. At a company level, if the salaries of the other employees with similar jobs and level of contribution are not adjusted accordingly, this will generate unfair payment among employees. The differences in payments have to have objective and transparent reasons to be able to describe the compensation system as equitable. Another aspect that can produce perceptions of unfairness is when biases appears. Biases like those related to gender, race, age, physical appearance can influence how compensations are given in a company. And I talked more about the biases that can occur in the workplace in my last episode. Go and check it out. Okay, let's see some research results about equity in the workplace. According to a Gallup research conducted last year in 2022, only 33% of employees believe that they have the same opportunity for advancement as everyone in the organization. Just 30% of employees strongly agree they are treated fairly at their company. Only 44% of employees said they feel respected, and 19% of these say they have experienced some form of discrimination of work. And only 35% of employees say they are confident that the company will do the ethical thing. These results show that there is a strong need to work on increasing the perception of equity in the workplace and the need to pay more attention to fair processes and decisions. Equity isn't an abstract notion, it's a practical blueprint for building workplaces where every employee feels respected and valued. It's clear that creating an environment where every employee is treated fairly and respectfully has far-reaching benefits. Not only does it promote inclusivity, diversity, but it also influences job satisfaction, employee motivation, and their performances. It's a blueprint for creating a workplace where individuals strive, collaborate, and contribute at their best. The path to equity may present challenges, but with commitment, transparency, and ongoing education, employers can do this. Let's do a short recap. So, we talk about why workplace equity is important, how it affects the workplace. We talked about equity theory, about employees' inputs and outputs, when equity and inequity is perceived, how employees resolve tensions produced by inequities. Then we talked about how a company can reduce the employees' perceptions of inequity, about situations in which inequities in payment can occur, and about research about equity in the workplace. I hope this is helpful for you. If you like this episode, share it with your friends and subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.